Hey, what's up, my Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So there, my Dragoons. I know I've done the deck profile about this deck already, probably not that long ago. I think maybe a month, if not 2 months ago, probably around that time area. The reason why I want to do a deck profile of this deck again is because I kind of want to get this deck going as fast, the way how I want it to be, as fast as I possibly can. And I'm very glad that this deck finally does not have any proxies no more. It's finally a legitimate, decent legal deck, with the exception of this guy right here, Conroe, which I believe is currently banned. And when I get my hands on Red Pulse Draco Kid, I'll take Conroe out and take his place. But until then, unless my opponent is cool with me using Conroe's skill, I'll just use Conroe as a random booster to boost up a certain card in particular, or using them as my ideal rear guard until I get something good going on the board. But other than that, as for the deck itself, the deck looks pretty cool. I mean, the deck looks great. It's got a lot of good things going right now at the moment. But as I mentioned in the past, I do plan on getting Dauntless Dragon in this deck whenever I can. So until then, let's get the deck profile of the current Kagero DOTE deck profile. So here we go. Alright, as I mentioned, my starter Vanguard is Lizard Soldier Conroe, and as I just said, since he is banned, if my opponent is cool with him, if my opponent is cool with me playing him but not use the skill, I'll just use him as a random booster or as a random rear guard and not use a skill at all, just so my opponent can be cool with me not going all this effect. But if my opponent is cool with me using Conroe's effect, well, I'll just use Conroe's effect. But most likely, if my opponent is cool with me using Conroe, I'll just use him as a random booster or such until I get my hands on Red Pulse Draco Kid. And that's it for. And as for the trigger lineup, of course, your 4 heals. That's expected in any Vanguard deck, at least to my perspectives. And as for the trigger lineup, I am back doing the one moment, please. I am back doing the 6 critical and 6 draw lineup. Now this lineup is pretty good right here. This lineup right here allows me to get to my DOTE and Dauntless, if I have Dauntless, and my Dragon Overlord as fast as I possibly can, while still having that amount of power that I would like to have to nail down my opponent. But as I've mentioned in the past for Alright Dragoons, I usually do swap around now and then from 6-6 to 8-4 now and then. So it's still not final. I'm still testing things out. I may go back to 8-4 eventually, depending on how my tests are. But until then, 6-6 is still doing pretty good with me. So that's my trigger lineup. For the grade 1 lineup, we have the 4 bars. Just making sure you guys can see it, and yes you can. And the 4 perfect guards. Ooh, what happened? What? The fuck? Pardon my language. There he is. Things got stuck. I apologize, my Dragoons, for the language and such. The 3 monks. Oh, pardon me. 4 monks. 2 flame of hopes and a 1 Chimera. If I find my third hope somewhere, I'll take this out for the third hope, just for obvious reasons. And the reason I don't play Flame and Promise, because Flame and Promise is kind of a little bit reliant on the soul and all that such, in order to do good with this deck and such. So Flame of Promise is not really needed. You're pretty much just fine with Flame of Promise, at least in my perspective. And that's it for the grade 1s. For the grade 2s, the obviously Burning Horn Dragons, just because your ideal Vanguard is Dragonic Overlord at the end, so he becomes a 12er once your Vanguard does become Dragonic Overlord, which is sick. 2 Berserk Dragons take out that 1 rear guard you don't want to deal with, as long as it's grade 2 below. 2 Bellicossi Dragons, so you can potentially get more cards face up and damage, so you can be more likely to do more stuff. And of course, 2 Dragonite Nahalms, just because a grade 2 10k vanilla is always pretty good. And that's it for the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 3 lineup, until I get my hands on Dauntless Dry Dragon, I'm still going to be playing the 4 Dragonic Overlords, regular ones. Dragonic Overlord is pretty good right now, where he stands right here. However, when I get my hands on Dauntless Dry Dragon, I'm going to do either one of 3 things. I'm going to either, choice 1, take out all the Overlords for all 4 Dauntless Dry Dragons. Choice B, I'm going to take out only 2 Overlords out for only 2 Dauntless Dry Dragons. Or choice 3, I'll just take out 3 Dragon Overlords and run 3 Dauntless Dry Dragons and only 1 Overlord. The only reason I'm like that, for some weird reason, because that potential power of having a Dragon Overlord as your first grade 3 Vanguard, then write a Dauntless, then write a Dragon Overlord the end, is I like the ability where in case something happens where despite all that, the end does not win you the game, whatever such. At least when you end the game, you end your turn, whatever such. At least your end would have 13 power instead of 1100 power, which, depending on the game's situation, it could mean a very small but yet big difference. Meaning that depending on what happens, the only attack you would probably only have to worry about is probably the Vanguard attack, and afterwards, as such, you won't even have to deal with the rear guards and such. And that's it for the grade 3s. Of course, your ideal winning Vanguard, and that is your Dragonic Overlord, the end. This guy is a mean green wrecking machine. If his attack is a hit, counterblast 2 cards, pitch a copy of him from your hand graveyard, otherwise known as a Persona Blast. He stands right back up and gets one more attack of that turn. Combos off with Dauntless Drive Dragon so well. If his attack is not a hit, use Dauntless' skill, pitch 3 Kagero, stand him back up, then attack with him again. Then just have him attack a rear guard if you like, and then go off with a skill after he hits that rear guard, stand him right back up, and just go for the Vanguard attack. Just deal some huge massive power to your opponent, and just take over the game really fast when you play this card right. Alright there, Dragoons. That right there was my Dragonic Overlord. No. Oh yeah, Dragon Overlord. That right there was my DOTE Kagero deck profile. It does look pretty good. I'm very glad there's no more proxies in this deck now. And once I get my hands on some Dauntless Dry Dragons, or that new Dragonic Overlord, the Break Ride card, depending on what comes up, I will definitely play around with those cards. And at the same time, speaking of that card, there's also a rumor going on that we may get a new type of Overlord called Dragonic Overlord the Rebirth, which is very sick, and it has some weird messed up effects going on. So depending on what comes up in the near future, we'll see like some sort of weird Kagero the Rebirth deck or Rebirth deck profiles coming up in this channel very soon. And with that being said, all in all, this deck looks pretty cool in my perspective, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. Hope you Dragoons enjoy this video. Leave a like and favorite if you did. Hit subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I'll see you Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon, signing out. Peace.